All right, today is the day my favorite studio monitor company have released the Gen 2 of their Footprint 01s and Footprint 02s. All right, let's take a look at these things. I haven't actually seen it yet. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, yeah. You can already tell this is different, the actual finish of the cabinet. Oh yeah, that's nice. So here's what Barefoot has to say about these Generation 2 footprints. This next generation model introduces a fully tri-amplified three-way architecture providing dedicated Class D amplification for each driver to ensure optimal performance, headroom, and efficiency across the frequency spectrum. At the heart of the Footprint 01 is a suite of newly developed Barefoot drivers, including a 1-inch dual ring radiator tweeter, 5-inch aluminum cone mid-range driver, and dual 8-inch aluminum cone woofers integrated into the cabinet using a proprietary dual force technology coupling system engineered for extended linear excursion, reduced distortion, and improved transient response. These custom drivers deliver a tighter imaging and more revealing soundstage. The new DSP platform features SPOC, spectrally optimized conversion, Barefoot's very own patented technology that introduces analog crossover filtering before digital conversion, preserving high frequency detail and significantly improving signal to noise ratio. This allows the Gen 2 to achieve higher resolution, improved clarity, and ultra low latency for an unmatched mixing and monitoring experience. All right, let's talk about what these Gen 2s sound like. So I have been basically just binging a bunch of my favorite records through them, which by the way is just the most fun thing to do. A couple thoughts. First, well, these translate really well in the room I'm in, which is essentially a master bedroom of a house. But these are the speakers that I fell in love with when I got the Gen 1s. And a big component of that is them being such a full spectrum speaker. These are fun speakers to work on, to listen to. When I'm producing stuff, even when I'm engineering, I want to hear all of it. I don't want to hear some limited version, and these are great. Now, general takeaway of the Gen 2s, right off the bat, they feel like a more mature version of the Gen 1. And what I mean by that is the low end on them is beautiful, but it feels a little more controlled, and maybe accurate is, you know, a way to think about it. The high-end headroom clarity of it feels so authentic. Like it feels like I can hear like the drummer's hand hit the cymbal. Like I feel like you're right there in the space that the record's being made, which makes the listening experience really, really enjoyable. Just feels like a more mature version of the Gen 1s. Not a huge, giant change. It doesn't sound like a different speaker. It sounds like the same speaker, but improved upon, which obviously I would assume is their goal with this line. I have just been playing around with the meme switch on this, which if you're not familiar, is a DSP switcher that allows you to essentially hear different profiles of the speakers. So there's a hi-fi setting. The flat setting is the standard Footprint 01 or standard whatever Barefoot you have setting for the speaker. Then you have the old school setting and then the cube setting. The cube is sort of like a mixed cube, old school's kind of like NS10s, and then the flat is the standard profile for these speakers. On the Generation 1 speakers, the flat, old school, and cube had such a dramatic difference between them. And then the flat and the hi-fi didn't have a super big difference. Unless you had been pretty used to listening on them, then you could hear a somewhat subtle difference. I think there's a bigger difference now. Outside of that, there's some visual differences as well. The whole cabinet is a little bit lighter of a finish. There is a accent on the tweeter, a little silver accent on the nipple, if you will. And then on the dual force subs, they also matched the finish with the same aluminum finish that's on the micro mains, and it looks good. All right, so that's my take on the Footprint 01s. Let's try the Footprint 02s. Just so you guys are aware, the 02s are essentially a smaller package version of the 01s. So these are essentially the exact same speaker, just a little bit smaller. So if you're in a smaller room and you're on a little bit lower of a budget, you can get the same exact type of speaker. We're gonna take the 01s off and we're gonna put these in here. And it's gonna be interesting to A/B them in the same room. So we're gonna see what that's like. We just swapped them. You can see it actually doesn't visually seem like that big of a difference, but they are somewhat of a smaller size speaker here. So I haven't changed the speaker stand positions, or listening in the exact same spot. So let's see. Extremely subtle difference, way smaller of a difference than I thought. So far, I've been really comparing these differences here. I think that the hi-fi is my favorite. And I think if you've used Barefoots before and you're used to the meme switcher, I would say that the Gen 2 hi-fi setting sounds a little bit more like the Gen 1. And the flat setting feels actually more flat and more neutral than the Gen 1s. I mean, I've listened to 15 seconds of this song, but just switching the same song, same speaker positions, going from 01 to 02, very subtle difference. I think they seem quieter, is the first thing I noticed. So I'm actually gonna listen a little bit louder here in a sec. All right, you gotta hear this. I'm gonna switch. They sound exactly like the 01s. That's immediate takeaway. Pushing them to their limits is a little bit easier. So it's a smaller speaker, smaller drivers, smaller cabinet. So right away, what I noticed is like when I'm really pushing them, you're hitting the limits faster. So, which makes sense. You're getting a lot more wattage, a lot more space volume with the 01s to actually push them louder, literally louder. As you get bigger with speakers, you can go louder. So the 02s can't quite go as loud. However, let's see where we are. I'm monitoring at like 97 dB and still not pushing the limit here, just so you're aware, like you can go very loud, but I noticed that you do hit the limit a little bit sooner, which we would expect with any smaller speaker. So my question for you is, what do you like to listen to when you are on a new set of speakers or going into a new control room? Do you have a playlist you like? Is there a specific song you start with? A couple of songs? Super curious to know, so I can maybe add them to my playlist. For me, I love going to the band Joe, and they have a song called I Want Your Video, and it's just sounds so great. And then another record from them, a song called Link. Two very different productions. One's like program, big kind of synth sample sounds, and then Link is much more like a band playing instruments, and both are great. Also worth mentioning, the mixer who mixed the second record from this band is none other than Man American, who uses Barefoot speakers. So if you don't want to take my opinion on this, which you shouldn't, try them yourself. But Man American, Chris Lord-Alge, Eddie Kramer also use these. Butch Vig, I could go on and on. Most importantly, you should use speakers that you're familiar with and that you like, and these are the ones that I like. I'll be keeping the 01s though. We'll probably put the 01s up in the B room. So Barefoot is not sponsoring this video, but if you are thinking about picking up these new Gen 2s, then check out the links in the description. They will take you to Sweetwater, because this month is recording month at Sweetwater, so there's gonna be a bunch of really sweet deals on there. So check the affiliate link. I'll link to the Gen 2 Footprint 01s and 02s on there. And if not, just check the links down there. Those are affiliate links. Easy, free way to support the channel if you're already picking up some stuff for the studio. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.